How's it going, everybody? Just want to welcome you guys back to another episode of Mr. Ellison's Math Minute. Today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about fractions and what better instrument to use to illustrate fractions than the snare drum. Now, when I was in high school, I was in the pit percussion, and a lot of times we worked with the drum line during the summertime before marching season, and we did something that you'd call rudiments. Okay? Now, rudiments are nothing more than a fancy way of saying sticking with the drum and learning about beats. Okay? Now, we did this from mid-July all the way to the beginning of school when we started really getting heavy into drumming and everything, and we learned how to stick properly and how to hold the sticks and how to hit the drum correctly and how to stay on the same beat so that we finished at the same time, because in marching band it requires uniformity, and each beat you have to be on the right beat at the right time so that you all finish in unison. Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about whole numbers and we're going to talk about fraction numbers, okay? And we're going to talk about the number line. Now, there are fractions all on the number line, and the number line goes from negative infinity all the way to positive infinity. Now, the number we're going to deal with first is we're going to deal with the number 1, because the number 1 represents one whole. Now, one whole is 1 unit away from 0, and it's going to be the first whole number that you see as an integer on the number line. Now, the way we represent one whole in music is we call it a whole note, okay? We call it a whole note. And a whole note has a whole beat. Now, what I'm going to do is, to demonstrate a whole beat, we're going to use something called a metronome. Okay? Now, for those of you guys who are musically inclined or have played in the drum line, or have been in a marching band of any kind, you know that a metronome is a device that helps you stay on beat, helps you stay on tempo, and it can help you find the beat that you need to be on. Okay? So if you're playing whole notes, it helps you stay on your whole notes in beat. And if you're playing quarter or eighth or 16th notes, it helps you stay on beat as well. So it's just a way of helping you stay on track. But we're going to use this to illustrate fractions. Okay? Now I'm going to turn it on. Now, each time now there's a little yellow light on here that lights up for each beat, and there's a high-pitched noise that comes after all those little small ticks, and that is a beat. Okay? Tick, tick. Each one of those ticks is a beat. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and get started, and we're going to show you how these work. Okay? Now, the first number we're going to look at on the number line is 1. And 1 has one whole beat. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and we're going to play one whole beat. And in music, we call it a whole note. Like we said again, it's a whole note. And it's going to be one beat, like this. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Now, in music also, there is a beat that's just a tad bit smaller than a whole note, okay? And it's called a half note. Okay? Now, in mathematics, the number less than 1 is a fraction called 1/2. Okay? Now, 1/2 is between 0 and 1, so it requires 2 halves to make one whole. Now, in music, it's no different. It's going to require 2 half notes to equal 1 quarter note. So I'm going to have to tap the drum twice to equal the one beat that a whole note would give me, okay? Now I'm going to demonstrate. 1, 2, 1, playing 2 beats. I was kind of on an off beat to it, but I was still playing 1 beat, but I was sticking it twice, okay? I got a little off beat there, but with that, whenever we do the next set of notes, I'm going to show you how it stays with the little metronome beep, okay? Now, on the number line, the next number that's smaller would be 1/4, okay? Now 1/4 is less than a half, and in math it's no different. There is a note called a quarter note, okay? And it requires 4 quarter notes to equal 1 whole note or 1 whole beat, okay? Now I'm going to demonstrate that to you, okay? How it's going to take me 4 taps on the drum to equal 1 beat, okay? Oh, hold on, just a second. Da, da, 3, 4, da, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, da, 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 da. See, I was fake sticking. I was sticking 4 beats. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 beat, 2 beats, 3 beats. 4 beats. Stop. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to look at a number that's less than 1/4, okay, on the number line. It's an integer, which is a fraction called an eighth, okay, 1/8. It's less than 1/4. Now in music, an eighth note has 8. It requires 8 of them, 8 of those beats to equal 1 whole beat, okay? It requires 8 eighth notes to equal 1 whole beat. Watch this, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now, it required 8 beats, okay? Now, whenever we talk about we're going to talk about another fraction on the number line, and it's called a 16th note, okay? And a 16th note in music has 16 little beats, okay? So it requires 16 16th notes to equal 1 whole beat. And on a number line, 1/16 is less than 1/8. So it requires, so it's going to be smaller. And it's going to require me to tap the drum with my sticks 16 times to equal 1 beat. Stop. See, it took 16 taps to equal 1 whole beat. Now, one thing about fractions is there are so many ways that you can learn them. A drum is just one way. Learning a different type of instrument, or just playing the drums every day, whether it's rudiments or being out on the field practicing in your squad, or whether it's in the classroom. Fractions are everywhere, and they can be a lot of fun if you just, grab hold of them and learn how to use them properly. Now, thank you for coming out, and I hope you enjoyed this math lesson. The metronome kind of was a little off, but I just wanted to demonstrate how parts of beats from a drum could represent fractions on a number line and how to tell which fractions are largest and which fractions are the smallest. Now, if you have any questions about the lesson or anything, just feel free to blog me, okay? My blog address is mrellisonsasic.blogspot.com, and that is mrellisonsasic.blogspot.com. And thanks for coming out, and y'all have a wonderful day. And remember, math is not just a jumble of numbers, it's an adventure. Thanks.